Y.
YYDDAANN.
No, Jordan with a Y, all double letters, lowercase.
JJOORRYY. Wait, it's JJOORRYY. Wait, let me type that again.
Okay. So we've got 2 viewers going, 7 viewers going. And yeah, I would actually like to, I'm just trying to get Michael into my Google account. I don't go live that often anymore because I've been trying to keep a farm together of recovering addicts. JJOO. And yeah, the fact of the matter is that I was prescribed Perdeby, which is a mild antidepressant when things were going on. First of all, I have to start off with good evening, everybody. There is no denying at all. Michael, just go there from contacts list so that when I want to go there that I can show. There's no denying at all. There is no denying at all that Mr. Hall, and I say Mr. Hall because it's the man that saved my life. Just phone Malvi and tell her that it was me that signed into my Google account, Michael. Nice to have you back from your road trips, Michael. Oh, no, I don't want to say it on the live, yeah. Yeah?
Thank you.
Just tell it was me that signed into my Google. Okay, so the fact of the matter is, I've lost a bit of weight over the last 2 months. I've been working my ass off to try and hold the farm together. There's been accusations that have been made of me. This isn't the dog that I took off the farm today. This is Gracie that's been with me, that was abused on the RAEL farm 6 years ago in 2014. Yeah, Gracie. She was ill-treated there, and I left with her then to go work at another rehab in Klerksdorp. What happened then in 2016 when I left on the 29th of April, when it was Mr. Hall's mother's birthday, it was unfortunate and sad that I left on that day because he was having lunch with her and I was a non-entity and I wasn't important. And what happened was, if I wasn't that important in 2016 on the 29th of April when I left RAEL, then why would Mr. Hall have to get up from his lunch table on his mom's birthday, which I'm not proud of, and rush back to the RAEL farm if I wasn't important? So I've got a 14-month-old baby that came 2 months premature. Yeah. I don't want to speak about Mr. Hall's gambling and stuff like that. Fact of the matter is, there's nobody. You can go onto YouTube. You can go to whichever rehab you want to in this country. Possibly even in America. I haven't been to any of those rehab, but I've been to a couple in this country. I've been to psych wards. I've suffered from psychosis. I haven't been diagnosed with any mental illnesses. I've been prescribed Perdeby 50 by Dr. Rihanna Dutoit. And I've been prescribed benzodiazepine 10 milligram packs because it's long-term side effects from long-term substance abuse and obviously dealing with sometimes 40 grown-up kids that I get panic attacks and things like that. And yeah. I spent a year in prison in 2010. I've been affiliated with RAEL and Mr. Hall from 2007. He is by far, when he's at his full senses, he is by far the best at addiction recovery that I've ever come across in my life. When he is busy doing addiction recovery. yeah, so 2016, I left on the 29th of April, his mom's birthday, which was a terrible thing. I didn't want to. There's been accusations made towards me that that I've stolen funds from RAEL. I've never stolen funds from RAEL, because then I wouldn't have asked Mr. Hall for the advances that he generously gave me many times to help me out during my move from Boersig to Worcester and all of that. He did generously help me out, as he does help out a lot of people. And at heart and at core, he's a good man. That's because it's standing on the mic.
No, because the sound's on your phone every time it goes off.
Huh?
Turn your thing down.
What?
Turn it, put it on vibrate or mute.
Ah. Okay, people, sorry about that. Michael's more experienced with the live videos. Now, I don't want to, I'm not a 57-year-old child. I'm a 36-year-old adult that's been saved by the grace of God, and a man that knows a lot about addiction recovery, and that had. And I pray to God gets the passion back for addiction recovery that has saved many addicts across this country. Many, many addicts. Saved my life. And that's Anthony Hall. The same man that has accused me of having different mental illnesses. Now tell me, what person in their right mind? First of all, I have never been diagnosed with anything. I believe that my baby was born 2 months premature because the stress that I was put under, and the arguments and the punishment that my personal relationship with my wife at my girlfriend at the time. My baby came 2 months early from stress. I hadn't been on leave for a year. On my off days, I was still taking applications and phone calls. I've been accused of taking RAEL fees in my personal account. I ask Jacobus, Rashdin, Ishmael, Hainu, Lanu, Saki's family, Michael Engelbrecht's family, Bradley, Eric, Ricardo, Christo, Mitchell, Claude McFadden, Cecil, Luke, Dominique, Jerome, Ravago, Bruce and Jan, Chris Morgan, Uncle Brian and Vanna's people. That is the last name list that I have of RAEL. I don't want to give their contact numbers out here. If they have ever deposited program fees into my account, maybe notifications into an account that ends in 8779, which is the House of Davnik, Anthony Hall, RAEL. Can the people hear me there, Michael? Ask them. I said tuck shop monies must come into my account because the guys were struggling. I was struggling to get the tuck shop monies and the statements out of Mr. Hall. And the guys, the next thing, straight after drugs, you want luxuries, you want to smoke cigarettes and things like that. There was times I was using my own funds for people's detox medications. So, yes, for sure. Sometimes 3 times a week. Even the lovely weekend I went away with that I had with my parents. My family that's been restored through the program that Mr. Hall teaches. Which in my opinion he doesn't live the program anymore. But he teaches the program and he used to live the program. We had 8 boys that all love Mr. Hall that come through the RAEL program. Sitting here together. Sitting here together tonight. And on a conference call to a couple of other people. to try and not start a fight with Mr. Hall. Tuck shop monies went into my account for the reason that Graham used to run the tuck shop, and then Graham was with Mr. Hall a lot on the road, and the funds was difficult to get hold of Mr. Hall. It was difficult to keep up to date. So, for example, the richer boys that get R1,000 tuck shop, because I was struggling to get funds to run the house out of Mr. Hall, and obviously to the benefit of the house and of RAEL, I started a veg fund. So say, for example, your parents send you R1,000 tuck shop money for the month. What myself and Ryan Tank would then do is, we'd wait for at least 5 people to save fuel and to save a trip. What we would then do is, and Tank, back me up here if I'm wrong or if I'm right. I see your face there. I don't think you'd be following me if I'd relapsed. I don't think I'd have my dad that I fucked over so many times. Excuse my language. My dad that I hurt so many times, I don't think I would have his support. Today I took an open drug test in front of everybody on the program on the farm, and I encouraged them to stay there. Not according to RAEL's post that I said that they must leave. The shouting and swearing and carrying on wasn't me. The doctor has helped me so much and given me so much good advice. And is a good woman, in my opinion. I at least say for now. But the accusations of me abusing pharmaceuticals are false. Tomorrow I will get an 8-panel test, and benzodiazepine will come up, because that is in the packs that was prescribed to me by Dr. Rihanna de Toit for my panic attacks that I suffer from, which is the long-term side effects of long-term heroin and drug abuse and catatonic trauma. It is one of the side effects. So I'm not here tonight to rip Mr. Hall to pieces and say a lot of bad things. I know newspapers only sell when there's chaotic stories there. But we just want the old Mr. Hall back. We don't want the Mr. Hall that is hurting people over Facebook. We want the Mr. Hall that used to save lives. How can I be accused of stealing, what was it? 7,000 Rand. I was blocked from the live video. I couldn't defend myself. How could I be accused of stealing 7,000 Rand when I've got about 2,000 Rands worth of tuck shop monies in my account? My other phone is here. It's broken. All the parents know that all my banking apps are on here. I will openly put my banking statements on here tomorrow so that we can show that it's only been tuck shop monies that came into my account. But sorry, I'm losing the train here. So, if some of the guys would get 1,000 Rand tuck shop money for the month, Tank would go to the shop. I would transfer all the monies over to Tank. And say, for example, it was 5 people and the total was 1,800. Because some get 500, some get 100 Rand and whatever. At the end of the day, we'll buy Cremora coffee and sugar, for example, and we'll put a 10 Rand markup on. And we called that the veg fund. When Graham was running the tuck shop, it was an income for him. I thought of a better plan to benefit RAEL and create what we called the veg fund. So we would then go to the shops here in Worcester, which I've got all the slips of every time I was transferred money from Mr. Hall. We would then go to the shops and get the shopping for the guys. It made it easier to come into my account because then I had access from it. Because then my phone calls wasn't declined every time I tried to phone Mr. Hall and he was on a live and on his way to a casino. And so I've got a photo, I've got a video. I did get a little bit upset, but I took a drug test in front of all the guys on the program on the farm today, and I ask you, please share this video, please. I took a drug test in front of every person on the program on the farm today. And tested negative for everything. I did it in front of Michelle, Michael's mom, yesterday as well. A great woman that has supported RAEL and contributed a lot to that kibbutz. No, I don't want to get there yet, Michael. Sure. That's lawsuits, bro. That's fraud. I don't want to get there yet. So I started the veg fund, okay? And we were making little bits of profit. And Mr. Hall's the best at addiction recovery. I'll fucking give him that. Straight. I always explain it that you might not like Gordon Ramsay, but nobody can take it away from him that he can cook. That man saved my life on a lot of occasions. He taught me a lot of lessons. But sometimes, you know, I've grown up to the point where I don't need to knock my own head anymore. And my teachers are sometimes the best people to learn from. That's what I've realized. Is that sometimes when I see them knocking their head and they don't see it, that I can learn from that. So I started a veg fund. And we would buy a veg weekly from that. It went home the other day by accident with Adie's mother's birthday present. His mother's birthday was on the 23rd or 28th of February, eh? And he didn't get to see her until this weekend because he had to drive up and down. No, leave the casinos out of it, Michael. No. Leave the casinos out of it. I don't want to fight. Because I've never lost a fight. So, if you want to believe me, yeah. You know, when I left in 2016, there was many threats that was made to me. I then relapsed, and Mr. Hall's Bucky was standing outside his house. And I knew that he was home because I seen him walk into, there's two doors. I seen him walk into the door. And I messaged him and I said, Mr. Hall, because I only used to call him Anthony in 2007. That was the first time he saved my life. And I messaged him from outside. I said, Mr. Hall, here I am by myself. I've relapsed, I'm 20 kilos lighter. You can come and do to me all those things that you messaged me and said that you were going to do. I was too afraid of what would happen to Mr. Hall if I had told my dad that he was calling my dad white trash and a lot of chamos and stuff. I was afraid of what would happen to Mr. Hall. Because it's the blood in my veins and my genes that has made me strong and hard enough to fight against addiction. And I'm glad Mr. Hall didn't get to the farm today while my dad was still there. Because I'm not sure if he's paid his medical aid. Can you book into a hospital with a black card?
Unfortunately not, but you can book into that.
Okay. So I was trying to get off the farm as quick as possible. There's a vehicle of mine on the farm that I was denied access to. At the moment it's stolen property. Where's the papers of my vehicle? It is somewhere around here. Yeah, we've been all over the place. It's been a hectic day, people.
It's in your car. It's in your car.
Is it?
Yeah.
In the one that Mr. Hall says he bought me? Or the one that I bought from Graham?
The one that you bought with your money.
The one that I bought from selling Mal's Milk that was bought by our auntie.
Yes.
Yeah, here's the papers for the Polo that I drive. I have another Toyota standing on the farm that I bought as a project car. I'm a little bit thin and tired because I've got 70 days outstanding leave. I work, most people work 180 hours a month. That's what I work in a week. That's more or less how many hours you guys spend where you go every week, eh, Michael?
Probably a bit less.
And so I take the medicine that was prescribed to me by Dr. Rihanna. And if we go back a good couple of videos, I was so happy to see Graham this evening. If we go back a couple of videos, the only meds that I've taken is the meds that were prescribed to me with my name on it from Dr. Rihanna, who writes out scripts. With which practice's name at the top of the script? I still got a couple of scripts in the envelopes that she's written out for me. I've only taken those meds. Okay, in check out, I freaked out completely in 2016. I was popping other people's meds like crazy. So I don't know if Mr. Hall's confused with the timeline. I did do that because I had an emergency extraction of my front tooth. That when I goggled my mouth with the salt water, this was on New Year's Eve because I couldn't get my personal responsibilities. I was working too hard. I had an emergency extraction on the 31st of December. And yeah, I was working hard, so I started with BioPlus sachets and shit like that. And addicts can't. I'm very sensitive to any substance. I started off with BioPlus sachets, and obviously I want to be accepted, and I work hard and things like that. Then I started popping Myprodols and shit like that. And then I searched a boy that came into the rehab, Storm Rider Stevenson, and he had thrown I searched him. He had drugs on him. I handed it into Mr. Hall, and it wasn't disposed of correctly. And probably about a week later, I emptied the ashtray in his and Auntie Karen's room, and I was having a cuck time, and I came across that bag of heroin when I emptied the ashtray that was in his room. That wasn't when I broke into his room and I was on the program. I've got nothing to hide, people. I assisted to break into his and Auntie Karen's room to steal methadone, which is detox meds. That was in 2014. And we weren't caught. We admitted it. Yeah. Yeah, I was being a naughty boy. Must always looked after me. Eh? He's a good man. He's a good man. He's a good man at his core. And I love him. I don't want to fight with him. And so generally, oh shit, I was just keeping it up. But now it's back to front. Michael, can't you get this on the TV screen there, man? So generally, RAEL turns anything between 120 and 150 a month. Go into contacts list. Hey Graham, lekker to check you sober and off all those meds that you used to take on the live videos with Mr. Hall that came out of his med bag, my bro. Hey. Yeah, I'm glad to see you've gotten off all those things that the doctor just prescribes to everybody. Shit. Still knocks and all that cuck you were on that comes out of Mr. Hall's med bag. It was given to us out of his hands. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? My bint is in Cape Town. I'm married, man. I'm married. Let's find out why there's so many people blocked on Anthony Hall's wall, man. He's a good man. He saved my life. Listen to what I'm telling you. I love him. Go to Mal's name, because I got so overloaded with work that I had to get my wife to do some of RAEL's work in the background. No, not the bank statements. Shit, just click on a name. There should be contacts lists. I don't know how to reverse it on the live. Ah, Clutchy!
It's a smell.
No, that's my dad calling. So, you know, I don't want to talk figures and stuff like that, because then it's going to get dirty.
Okay. I will.
Pagamisa? Yeah. You scream, that's normal.
Okay, perfect.
But, yeah, people, I'm not on pharmaceuticals. I don't abuse my pharmaceuticals. I went away the weekend. Mr. Hall did not buy me a car. He lost his marbles and he bought about 8 cars in 2019, eh?
Roughly.
Who the fuck buys 8 cars, my bro? You can only drive one. And my blue iX35 he bought for 145. Yeah, Graham, I'm proud of you that you're off the still knocks and all the shit, and that you don't go on the lives with your t-shirt off with purple hair and all that kinds of cuck. I'm proud of you, my bro, that you came back from that. Those live videos that you used to end off after you take your meds with Mr. Hall, my bro, it wasn't lucky to see you like that, my bro. That's why I never went on the road trips, because I wanted to, my heart was at RAEL. I will get my day. Lekker, Richard Collins. I will get my day, or he will get his day. Because I ask you all now, how many threats and smuts and owls and all of those people that he badmouths and that so fucking wants to raw people on Facebook. Come, let's fight, people. Come, me and all 578 of you. Come. No, it's the top one. No, it's not the last ones, man. Go into... No, don't go into contacts. Go into sent.
Okay.
Go into sent. Because she WhatsApped it to me and then I sent it back to her. No, man. On the side here. In my Gmail. So I don't want to start talking figures and all of that. Yeah, Alex. So I don't want to talk figures. I don't want to badmouth Mr. Hall. I don't need to.
Okay. Okay.
Titanic sunk itself. Okay, and yeah, so people, the only thing I'm trying to do here is say that that Anthony Hall saved my life. The long and short of it. That's the long and short of it. I wished, my biggest wish was to leave with a handshake and say thank you for what you've done for me, Mr. Hall. I don't know why I couldn't leave like that. I'm not sure why. He's taught me what I know about addiction recovery. And again, I will say to you that there isn't a person on the planet that I've come across that knows addiction recovery the way he does when he's teaching it. And so I'm not here to blacken his name or to try and... I asked those boys on the farm today, please stay there, guys. It's in your best interest. And when I left, anybody is more than welcome. Anybody is more than welcome to ask those boys, those gentlemen, those guys on the farm, what I said about Mr. Hall. I told them that he is the best. You can go on YouTube. You can go search where you want to. There isn't another person that I know that has got anything on Anthony Hall when it comes to addiction recovery. No, not the statements, Michael. The contacts, the program list. Go down. What I've sent to her. Image, Jerome. Headcount contact list. Shit, I don't know how to reverse it or change the camera around. Yeah, so Graham doesn't have pink hair anymore, and he's not getting still knocks from Mr. Hall, and all those kinds of things. No, not the head count, the contacts list. Yeah. You know, with 10 people that's been there for less than a week, or some of them less than 3 months. I get accused of stealing money from the organization that saved my life, from the organization that I've got statements that I can show you that I had to put of my own money. I've used of my own money many times without saying anything, just to add that extra touch, just to make that meal a little bit nice. I come from a hospitality background, and there's always a peg problem on the farm. They always hang their washing up, and they don't take the pegs off, or they lose the pegs, or whatever. So I'm at the flea market. I buy pegs out of my pocket. Tuck shop monies were transferred into my account because I struggled to get the funds from Mr. Hall at any given time, and to keep track of what's tuck shop and all of that. I said to the guys today that as soon as I get my phone that I bought from Mr. Hall for 2,000 Rand at the airport when he went to Japan to go watch the Rugby World Cup, and his contract SIM card that I've used for the last 2 years. When I got my upgrade the other day, I gave him the S20 20 Plus because I liked my phone. And it was quite a benefit to RAEL because it's unlimited minutes and all that kind of nonsense. It did come off my salary once or twice, but I think Mr. Hall knew that I used it mostly for RAEL, so he would pay it for me many times. And I don't think he gave me, he gave me 13,900 in December, which I took as a bonus. I was also getting married. I also hadn't had leave for a year and a half, so I didn't know why. I mean, anybody on the live feed over here going to say no thank you to getting extra money in December? So I'll never backstab and betray Mr. Hall. But those accusations aren't real. I've taken medication that is prescribed to me. If I was on drugs, I wouldn't have a watch. I wouldn't have a. I was such a bad druggie, eh? That I would sell if I only had a T-shirt left on my body, and that could get me my next fix. That's what I would sell. I can tell you this ring wouldn't be on my finger because I'm not married. Are you sure this is Coke, Michael?
I'm 100% sure. Do you want to see the empty bottle?
There's still a 30 packet of tick in the safe on the farm.
Here's the empty bottle.
Thank you, another code. No, I don't need to prove shit, man. Of when Rushdien came in and it was confiscated, the other drugs that were there, we burnt them out. So I don't want to fight with anybody. I didn't steal any of the farm's property. I took Tank's double bed that belonged to him. I'm going to go and fetch the amp that belongs to Tank, and my car that is on the premises that I wanted to go and get today. And the minute I was asked to leave the farm, I left. That was after I said that I'm leaving. I wasn't thrown off the farm. Yeah. So I just wanted to clear the air. I haven't stolen from RAEL. If I steal, I'll relapse, and I want to live. I've got a 13-month-old baby. I've got a wife in Cape Town. I mean, I used to be in Worcester and she used to be in Cape Town because I worked in Worcester and she lived in Cape Town. She now lives in Worcester because it was in RAEL's best interest for us to move to Worcester and best interest of my sobriety. And what happened then was she's in Cape Town now because she thinks that the threats will be carried out that were made. I ask anybody that wants or has connections and that is serious, I don't want to play games, man. I don't want to make threats, man. Mr. Hall saved my life, man. He's a good man. I love him. I just wanted a handshake and say goodbye. Excuse me. Now, I don't know if it's because I couldn't get that, because I know too much. I don't know if I couldn't get that because I was the backbone of RAEL. I wasn't the backbone of RAEL for the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks though. The MD was the backbone of RAEL and all of this cuck. The MD of a NPO. Where have you heard such cuck? So I don't want to keep everybody up. I know you were excited to hear the dirt and the chaos and the bank statements and how bad Mr. Hall is and all that kind of stuff. That's not who I am, man. Not just somebody that saved my life, man. If I was in a position to help him, I would. But again, I ask the question, who would, and I will openly like I said, if somebody's serious about ETV, carte blanche, what's third degree, special assignment, if anybody has any connections over there and is serious about it, then we can get speaking. I'll take a drug test before that. I'll take a lie detector test to find out if I've ever stolen off the farm. I stole methadone 6 years ago, myself and Gary Weatherall Thomas, mainly because there was a third guy that was there he wasn't getting his detox meds properly, and we felt sorry for the oak because we were also heroin addicts. And we checked the methadone bottle there, and like it takes a long time to lose the scallum. Some people haven't even lost it after 16 years. The con. It's not the drug that's the problem, man. It's the lifestyle. And what must have been happening on that farm if I was doing so much shit and catching on so much cuck? I got to RAEL a broken man, and I was restored by the grace of God. I got another chance over there. But I call on everybody that's been there in the last, since the day, RAEL World Addiction Day 2019. I call on Leon van Rensburg. I call on Dusty Werner. I call on Tony Garcia. I call on Gareth Scott. And I pray to my God that the truth will come out. Whether it's in now or in 10 years' time, whatever the case might be. I'm not a psychopath. I don't, what was it? Not a psychopath? I was blocked from all the RAEL pages, so I couldn't defend myself. Not a psychopath, what? Psychotic. Or what, they said that I've got mental issues or something like that.
You need to see someone.
Is that what they said on the live, that I need to see someone? Sure, bro. For taking Surdep 50, packs that was prescribed to me by the doctor, which is for extreme anxiety. I'll get palpitations that comes up the side of my head. And a box of 30 lasts me a month, sometimes a bit longer. When I don't have to give the oaks on the farm of my meds. So, I'm exhausted. Tomorrow, I'm going to go and get an 8-panel drug test. It will test positive for benzodiazepine, because that is the main ingredient in packs that was prescribed to me by the doctor. I haven't stolen anything from RAEL. I'm more than willing to take a lie detector test for that. I took Tank's bed, Bradley's possessions, Michael's own personal possessions, my phone and my laptop and all that cuck that was taken away from me in 2016. I never seen again. Excuse me. So, this wasn't to get dirty, people. This is to share experience, strength and hope to the still suffering addict out there. that I will pursue to carry the message that Anthony David Hall carried to me. Because the message that he carried to me got me sober. And all the people that were here this evening. And the other few that we had a conference call. Mr. Hall, we love you and we're worried about you. That's all. I know Mr. Hall always talks on his live shares about, you know, that people's lucky he's not drinking or it's not the old days or whatever and stuff like that. But I don't want to bore anybody anymore. But I haven't relapsed. I'll be sure. And I'm not, it's not psychotic, man. It's mental issues or what? Mental illness. I might have a mental illness. I'm blocked from RAEL pages, so I couldn't defend myself. It was that. It was stealing money and taking program fees into my own personal account. And what?
You stole a dog.
And I didn't steal a dog. I took Tank, the little pit bull that came from Sandy's Eden. That was given to Michael Baju and Nita from Sandy's Eden. Who Tank, other Ryan Tank looked after. And took him to a better place because I've seen what happened to Haley after Graham left there. I've seen Puppy limping around there for 8 months. We built a fence to separate the dogs because dogs fight now and then. And I've got a heart. I can watch human beings fight. I can't watch dogs fight. We built a fence out of the veg fund. The apparently stolen money. We built a fence out of the veg fund. I had 1 or 2 braais for the guys out of the veg fund. So I don't want to fight, man. I've even supplied cigarettes to those guys that don't have. I've bought meds for guys out of my own pocket who don't have. And yes, the doctor has been a great help. Mr. Hall, my IX35 that he bought for 145,000 rand, I think. And he went to Japan and all that kind of cuck and Israel and whatnot and whatnot. And I then had saved up 60,000 rand. I think I'd saved up 60,000 rand and then you know, the reason why I'm not going to tell you what meds Mr. Hall is on is because that is patient confidentiality in law. So they've broken the law. I haven't been on the SIRDEP that I've been prescribed for quite a while. My wife is a witness to that. She's not a drug addict or ex-drug addict like me. I've only been taking the pack so that I don't. Because there's people. not patients or members or people on the program on the farm, that have been there for a couple of months think that they know more than me about heroin and addiction and how to run a rehab, when the best person in the world that I know that knows that I, in my opinion, is the best in addiction recovery in the world, that said that I'm the best. So somebody comes there, they start working there, and yeah, without me taking my meds for a couple of days, I'll be honest with you, not a person on the program, another psychopath over there on the farm. Just like me, I'm a psychopath. Sorry, I don't mean to call names. I just don't know which other word to use. Has been irritating me and irritating me and irritating me. And I mean, it's been put all over Facebook that I've been running the farm so well for the last 2 years, and I've got the most experience and all this and that and whatever, because I ran for 2 years as well in 2.5 years. Yeah, Alex, I needed the go-ahead and the funds, eh? When my dog Gracie gave birth 5 years ago, she was put outside the house and put behind Richie's room, because that was a way of getting to me. So people, I've got stories. I can take you back to 2007. I can tell you stories about psych wards and people that needed to be bailed out of them. I can tell you about alcohol relapses in 2013. I can tell you a lot of things, but that would be unprofessional. And what was done to me this evening on RAEL's page and then blocked me so that I can't defend myself was unprofessional. I didn't take anybody else's meds besides the ones that were prescribed to me by Dr. Rihanna de Toit, that is very good at her job. She's got 30 years experience. I haven't taken any of those meds. Anybody else's meds, okay, except the ones that Mr. Hall gave me out of his meds bag, which was a Pax now and then. Pax is diazepam, or it's the same thing as Valium. The main ingredient in there is benzodiazepine. It's a very addictive substance. I used to take 10 of those, a sip of methadone and 4 sleeping tablets before I walked to the merchant in the morning. And then I used to have a double shot of heroin. I'm not here to talk about drugs. I'm just here to clear the air and say that I haven't relapsed. I haven't stolen anything from RAEL. I appreciate what Mr. Hall has done for me. But RAEL and Mercedes-Benz is two very different corporations. Running a drug rehabilitation and working for a car corporation is two very... And the accusations made when 10 other people left today of 7 grand's worth of what? Was it what? Cash money or drawn or on the cards or what? Or what?
They just said 7 grand was missing.
From Auntie Leslie's cupboard.
Yeah.
Fuck it, why would she have 7 grand in her cupboard, my bro? Oh, Bradley,
Yeah.
don't you also have 2 salaries that are in Auntie Leslie's cupboard?
That's right. Could be maybe 2,000 or more.
just over 2 grand of yours. Oh, maybe they're tuning that it was stolen so that you don't get your money.
Perhaps.
Because Mr. Hall said even though he sponsored you, you've worked that off over and over and over. But remember, in 2014, I went to RAEL. I was sponsored a program. I was very broken. I got there. I appreciated it. I was sponsored a 6-month program. Then I worked for 5 months for free in the kitchen. I came from a job where I was earning 34,000 Rand working as an executive sous chef for Sun International at Grand West. I wasn't gambling there because it didn't interest me. And because if you work for Sun International, you can't gamble. So those that like gambling, I wouldn't recommend getting a job for Chogat Sun or Sun International. Rather stick to Rehabs or Mercedes-Benz. And yeah, you know, I was earning. I used to pull between 24 and 30,000 Rand in 2014, and I stopped working there because I told them I'm busy drugging myself to death. I can't follow all the comments. Karen van Asven, what happened? Why did he leave the farm? I left the farm because I had a conflict in interest to what Mr. Hall was doing with his political parties and the videos he was making, and I had a morals and values clash and an integrity clash to what my program of recovery teaches me. And I didn't want to be involved in the fraud with the new kibbutz and all of that. And I don't want that to be taken out of context. I mean in the way that an NPO is meant to break even. Thank you, Mr. Hall, for what you've done for me. I will carry the message as far and wide and as far and as heavy and as much as possible, and use it in the best way that you taught me. So people, you can make your own evaluation. I haven't lost my mind. I'm not going to answer any questions. I didn't need to steal any money from there. When I asked Mr. Hall now and then for a bit of extra, he gave me. Sometimes he gave me a little bit of extra out of the blue. And my saying to all the guys on the program was always, guys, because addiction is selfish and self-centered, the best way that I beat it was to always work in the best interest of the house and the best interest of your fellow man and addict. And that way, that's how I lost. I've never been a selfish person. That's how I lost my selfish and self-centeredness. I'm not a narcissist. I really thank my parents for supporting me. I thank you for RAEL for saving my life and uniting my family. And I hope that that slogan will carry through and stand as it used to before. as it used to before. Because I didn't think that the day would come back in my life when I would be able to call on my dad for help because of how I hurt him. My dad's only known me for 36 years. And he knows when I've done something wrong. Today I didn't do anything wrong. I took this stand for my mental health. I'm getting hurt. Kurt, please answer this. What happened to the truckload of goods Anthony donated to the shelter in Perdeby Bay? The truck was full when it was dropped Justin off, but later when it came back to fetch him, it was almost empty with nothing dropped off at the shelter. Yeah, Mr. Hall's a very giving man and things like that. So in 2019 in Plettenberg Bay, he was giving a lot of things away and stuff like that, which he believed at the time was hoarded. He had a caravan, and RAEL used to do a lot of activism. We used to go cut people's hair on the streets, give away dignity packs and all of that, and he gave it to untrustworthy people, and it didn't reach its destination. So at his core, I believe he's a good man. But Mr. Hall, if you hear this video or part of this video or whatever, you can laugh at me, you can swear at me, you can accuse me, but rarely have we seen a person fail, Mr. Hall, who has thoroughly followed our path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to the SIMP program. And this part sticks out. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. I miss them, Mr. Hall, I know. The Mr. Hall that can carry the message of addiction like no one else can. But I beg of you, Mr. Hall, to carry that message to yourself. When no one's around, and you go to lie in your bed or whatever, just like I've heard your voice, I want you to hear mine. There's a lot of us that care about you, Mr. Hall. There are such unfortunates. They are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty with themselves. Their chances are less than average. There are those too who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders. I haven't been diagnosed with a mental disorder. I had a bit of depression that I was given Surdep for. I get a bit of panic attacks. And I take, what's the other one I take for this fucking heartburn thing? Yes, the swearing is so in me. And then I take Lancelot. It's sold over the counter. That's for heartburn because I got stomach ulcers because I had my first gastroscope at 19 because of taking ecstasy and drinking on an empty stomach. There are those too who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders. Where did all the things go to in 2019? When Mr. Hall, out of his heart, gave a lot of things away to a lot of people. Yeah, that behavior didn't seem very normal to me at the time. But everybody's different, eh, Michael? But many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. Our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we are like now. What I used to be like was kakskalm, dirty-mouthed, drugged, rob my parents, sell my own clothes off my back, hang from the beams in my father's garage to steal stuff so that the alarm sensor doesn't see me. I hang from the beams with my legs. I burnt down butcheries. I broke into cars. I broke into houses. I've been to prison. What happened? I went to a couple of rehabs. I went to prison. I didn't listen. And then I did listen. And what happened was I went to RAEL. And what I'm like now. Well, you guys can see what I'm like now. If you have decided you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, then you are ready to take certain steps. At some of these we balked. We thought we could find an easier, softer way, but we could not. But what stands out for me over here is that just my message to Mr. Hall. I could be all kinds of nasty, eh? I don't think that's the right way. Nobody needs to be around, Mr. Hall. Just be honest with yourself when you're by yourself. Maybe it's 10 minutes before you're going to bed or whatever. You don't need to tell lies about me, sir. You don't need to tell lies about me. Because I won't need to tell lies about you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me, everybody. This isn't going to be like a Neil de Beer and Anthony Hall, or like a Kurt Schuler and Anthony Hall fight and cut like that. Because I've stopped fighting people, places and things. My program has set me free. Yes, see. It's been a heavy day, huh?
Sure.
Sure, bro.
Yes.
Smoked about 30 cigarettes, drank about 6 cokes, had 1 pie, because I don't really get appetite. I had half a packs, because I was getting a bit of palpitations from the threats. I went to go drop the water meter, the Bucky skis and the RAEL Hyundai skis off at the police station, so that they can take it back. The same cops, I gave it the same cops that brought Debbie Elsa's restraining order. They said that they'll take it back there for me. That I spoke to this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, somebody's tuning here. You look like kak. Yeah, Alex, yes, it's my bro. It's been a long day, my bro. But I'll do a 8-panel tomorrow. I could post a very vulgar one that that Michael took of me this afternoon doing on the field of RAEL. But I wasn't shouting and losing my mind and all this cuck. I wanted to go in peace, and then I started getting shouted at and whatnot. I think that's the shouting that the people are hearing. I don't need to shout to leave RAEL, man. Mr. All says it all the time. There's the gate if you want to go. Like, I was being shouted at when I wanted to leave. I stopped drugs because I couldn't keep the promises to myself. I don't make threats. Today I can keep the promise to myself. And I promise you, Kurt Schuler, that if there's another threat that comes your way and not carried out, that the person that gives that threat will be treated as a sick person by me. And they can live with the resentment. Accuse me of what you like. I can't be a thief because if I'm a thief, I can't stay sober. But I will carry the message that RAEL taught me. And I will carry the message of removing the stigma. I will support World Addiction Day that was founded by Mr. Hall. I will support RAEL Orange Friday because of the initiative. So to end off, people, thank you for taking the time to listen. Sorry for the disappointing part of not giving you facts and figures. But the fact is, I didn't steal your bed, my bro. I just took it off the farm because I needed a place for Michael and Bradley to sleep. I ain't smart for them to sleep in my bed, you know what I mean? They're lucky for my wife. And the last 2 years, I haven't really slept in my own bed. I've been sleeping at RAEL. You know what I mean? Just the last glass of Coke there, Mikey. And, yeah. Nasty and ugly people could have been expecting an ugly video from me. But Tank, I didn't steal your bed. I took it off the farm. I didn't steal anybody's meds. As soon as I get my banking app sorted out, I'm going to send the tuck shop monies back. And I'll put the statements on, yeah, my screen's bloody broken. As soon as I get my banking app sorted out and all that stuff. Capitec's been a nightmare since Saturday. In a small town, it goes like around the block. Thanks D. Now Danella wouldn't be watching me. Danella knows me, man. If I relapse, I would never watch on a ring, and my phone wouldn't be leaning against a TV. There's a TV, there's a hi-fi, there's a laptop, there's a couple of tablets, there's a washing machine.
It's a table.
There's a table, there's a light switch.
Your phone's leaning against the TV.
Yeah, there's another TV that my phone's leaning against. And, yeah, there's fridges and all kinds of cuck. Which is mostly mouths, you know. Pardon. But I go balls to the wall. And I can tell you now that sorry, I'm just trying to see there. That it's not nice when yeah, I know Glynis, but it's Michael that buys the Coke the whole time. So now you must know, I've had a pie, just had a pie, and I'm drinking Coke. And I want to end the live feed because I don't smoke in my house. But I clear the air. Anthony Hall's the freaking best at addiction recovery. And I didn't steal his stuff, because I know if I did that, I can't stay sober. I'll carry the message that he's taught me. And I ask everybody to keep Mr. Hall in their prayers tonight. I didn't encourage anybody to run away from that farm. When I left there, I told them, stay here, please, guys, and listen to Mr. Hall. Please, guys. Please. And I told them that he's the best in the world, or in my world that I've been in, when it comes to addiction recovery. So, let the accusations come. But I'm not going to become some cyber junkie or cyber bully. But I beg you people, watch this space. Results count in recovery. What made a bad day for me today, for the RAEL farm, was those people leaving after I'd left. That's not what I wanted to happen. What I wanted to happen was that I leave, which puts Mr. Hall in a place where he's obligated, because at his own admission, there's nobody that can run the farm like me. It puts him in a position that he would be there more than what he would be on the road, and be able to carry on with his calling and save many more lives the way he did mine. I didn't want those boys to leave, man. I tried to encourage them to stay there. I'm not abusing medication, man. I've been prescribed things. And I'll never speak about other people's mental health and post about other people's mental disorders and diagnoses. On a live feed, man. I would never do that, man. My only mental disorder that I have is that I've lost the ability to control any mood or mind-altering substance. And in order for me to never fall on my arse again, or be found under the bridge with a needle in my arm, is to live honestly and to practice the program of recovery. And if my life didn't depend on it, I would probably steal. because of the times that we're in. But I can't steal and be sober. And I need to be sober. Yeah, I needed the Serdip and the packs. And that's what I took. I didn't take anybody else's meds. On the car in October, I want you to give me a call on Michael's number, please. On the car in October, in your birthday bag was some tuck shop monies in separate packets. Concur if this is the truth. And a veg fund. If I was stealing, that would have been in my wallet. It landed up there by accident because I'm not the house cleaner anymore, Auntie Karen. October, Adie's mom. And your birthday present was standing on my desk for 2 months while Adie was being dragged around the country instead of coming home to you and his child for your birthday. And it was put in there by accident in a brown bag that Tank separated it into. Veg fund, that's a little bit of tuck shop money profit that we make that we sow back into the house. We built a nice fence from the veg fund that we built up. We buy compost for the tunnels. Like I said, I've never needed to steal from a store. When I asked him, he gave me. I don't know if his accusations are out of hurt or is somebody closer to him as... I hope one of those 10 boys didn't take that, what was it, cash money?
Cash money, 7,000.
From?
From a cupboard.
Cupboard. She didn't say that's
Oh bro, I would never leave my room unlocked with that kind of money on a farm and the doors are open and it's chaotic and there's people leaving. But I'm the one that gets accused for doing that. Why would I do that? Why would I do that, bro?
No reason to.
My rent is paid. I've got an overdraft. I've got to moose a lot of stuff in the garage to sell if I really need to.
I've also been accused of stealing A31.
No, you didn't steal the A31, bro. That A31 is still there.
I know, I was accused of it.
Oof. Is that Dominique Hall? Dominique. And everybody watching, watch this space. I'm getting nicotine withdrawals here now, people. And I've got 3% on my replacement phone. It's not the A31, I promise you. It's Mal's old P20 Lite. Because I threw my phone broken. God bless you, I've got 30 seconds left. And I don't have power banks because I'm not used to these live things. I love RAEL, I love Mr. Hall. And I just want to leave there so that he can be there more and carry on with his calling. Happy faces. We'll chat again. Shit, this phone's going to go dead, Michael. God bless you all. That's the truth.